Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Tom Sawyer Show on HBC TV 25, brought to you by Wellington's Pub and Grill. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thanks for joining us. Joined as always by head coach Tom Sawyer. Your name's on the show. You have to be on here, right?
That's right. That's right. It's tough business coming over here. You know, it's really a lot of fun.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for coming. Let's talk about the game against Upper Iowa this past weekend, a 37-7 win, 5-0 on the season. Just first, though, the initial thoughts about the win against Upper Iowa.
Well, you know, it's one of those teams that we struggle with every year. I don't know what it is. We don't know a lot about them. You know, we know some of their players, but we just never really play at our best. And I don't know what it is, but that's kind of been the run. I'd like to get rid of that if we can. But we started out very slow offensively. Last year we struggled down there, and it's just been back and forth. But we found a way to win, and our defense inspired us. Our offense, you know, really got it going in the second half, and then we became our team again. But it was a slow start. But you know, right now it's about winning and moving on, and we got it done.
We looked at the numbers before the game, and they looked fairly even between you two. And you were 4-0, they were 3-1 coming into the game. Were you at all surprised that the first quarter ended with no score?
A little bit. You know, we were down there, knocked on the door a couple times. So I was more not surprised, just angry that we weren't in the end zone yet, or at least field goals and that kind of thing. So, but this is the Northern Sun, and everybody's got great players, and you know, we had to make some adjustments, and it took us a little while. And you know, and like I said, our defense, you know, Andrew, they had the 2 picks, and I mean that inspired us and everybody. But in this league, that can happen. It could have been, you know, 28-27 in the first half. I mean, you don't know, or in the first quarter, because that's just the way the league goes. So you got to kind of grin and bear it and move forward, and you know, we go into the halftime ahead, and that's where we hope to be.
All right, let's talk about the offense first in the game, because you had a pair of 100-yard rushers, which I thought was interesting. I don't know the last time that actually happened, but talk about how your running game has kind of improved over the course of the season.
Well, I think if you look at statistically, you know, we've gotten better every week, and that's something that we've been after. Even with the slow start, we still ran the football well. Our fullbacks are playing excellent, tight ends, so we're getting some things fit up a lot better than we did earlier in the year. Eric Berth and Javian Roebuck, the 2 kids that you talked about, going over 100. We were actually rushed for over a 300. I think our net was now just under 300, but that's 2 weeks in a row. And when you look at, our offense didn't play all that well, but yet you did it, you know, 2 weeks in a row. We're starting to get better and better. We just got to finish in the end zone, and that would get a little bit more score separation. But we're running the football better. We're protecting the quarterback better. They had 1 sack against us, so we're in good shape there. We just need to play a little bit better against better teams. All
right, talk about the passing game then. 130 yards through the air this week. Talk about how that went against Upper Iowa.
Well, it didn't go like we wanted it to. You know, they played, you know, cover 2. They played 4 back there most of the time. But really, Darren wasn't really ready. Hadn't practiced a whole lot in 2 weeks. But you know, that's a tough part about college football is if you're coming off injuries and you're sitting down, so you give them a break, but they don't practice, and you know, that kind of stuff. So it makes it difficult. But he's still our top quarterback, and we had to have him on the field. And you could just see he wasn't quite in sync, and that's just from not getting enough reps during the practice week. So very excited about it this week. He's healthy, he's ready to go, and we hope to continue to build on that passing game. But you know, when you run that much and you're taking time off the clock, it's a good way as well.
Well, let's talk about the quarterback situation. When did you make the call that it was going to be Darren that was going to start this week, because Owen started last week?
Yeah, we knew as soon as we got done with the game last week. I mean, you know, we knew going into the Minot game that if we had to have Darren, he'd have played. We got by with that, and Owen did a nice job in that game. But we knew Darren was going to start the next one. We knew that going into prior to the week. And from, you know, we walked into practice on Tuesday, he was the starter, and he was the guy we were going to go to.
All right, let's talk defense then. Another impressive performance from the defense. We keep saying that week after week, but it's just the case. Had the shutout going until like 3.5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. Talk about overall how the defense played.
Well, they're really playing well, and you know, we kind of limped along there too in a couple positions, but you know, inspired defense. The guys are playing hard. Schemes are good. Guys are playing well together. I think it's a good. Our defensive scheme right now is a good complement to not only our offense but also our special teams, and just the way that they play right now is fun to watch. They're making plays, and the biggest thing is they know what they're doing. They have less mistakes, and then your athletes can make plays. And when you do things right, good things happen. And you're just seeing that, more and more and more, and that's also the expectation. So it's not like, oh my gosh, our defense is really playing well. We also expect them to play really well because of the type of athletes that they are.
All right, I don't want to compare too much between teams, so we'll just compare to last year's team. Compared to the NSIC leaders last year, how is this defense kind of stacking up?
Well, I still think we have the best defense in the league. We have to prove that every week. But Mankato is very strong. Sioux Falls is very strong. And you got to look at the schedules. It'll all sort out, as we go through the North and South now in interdivisional play. That's going to be a big difference because there was some lopsided scoring, in the first part. So we'll see as we go through, but I expect that our defensive level will continue no matter who we play.
All right. Now you were facing off against the reigning NSIC Offensive Player of the Week and Brandon Lammers from Upper Iowa, and our guest today, Andrew Spencer, gets 2 pick sixes in the first half. Talk about what that did for the team, considering that the offense had a little slow going in the first half.
All those things are ways of more inspiration. When you get a kid that's a player of the week and you come back the next week, you want to make sure that you play great against that and shut that down, and I really think we did a nice job. Overall, in the whole day, we batted down a bunch of balls. We got pressure on him. He did scramble out a couple times and had to dump the ball. So I think we had him on his heels. Andrew just, went through his scouting, did his job, did his assignment. The quarterback broke his shoulders and he went and got the football. I mean, that's what we expect Andrew to do. But also you still have to go make the plays. So, but playing against those kids that have that accolade, it's locker room fodder. You put it up, and at the end of the day, once the game starts, it doesn't really matter who's over there. You just got to do your job. But that is fun. It's inspirational, and we had 2 players of the week this week. So we're pretty excited about where we are too. But everybody just uses that one way or the other for inspiration.
Yeah, I want to get to special teams in just a little bit, but a couple more questions about the defense. As I said, it was a shutout for most of the game. Psychologically, or even just emotionally, what would a shutout mean? What does that mean when you're carrying that into the fourth quarter? What does it mean when it kind of goes away at the end?
Well, I think 2 parts of that. One is it's cool. It's just a cool thing to get a shutout. But this is college football. It doesn't happen very often. And when you're playing at home, it's an opportunity to play 85 kids. When we're on the road, it's actually easier because you only bring 55 or like 26 defensive players, so you don't sub anybody. They're already there. But this is a great chance. I think Andrew said it best in a post-game interview. He said, it'd be great to have the shutout. That's what you strive for. And those kids that were on the field when the kid broke the 67-yard touchdown or 65 or whatever it was, they were out there to play too, but they got great experience. We're going to need those guys down the road. So even with that experience of giving up a long one, they learned from that. So yeah, it's a bummer, but we got the win, and that's really all that matters.
All right, let's talk special teams then. As you said, Carter McCauley, NSIC Special Teams Player of the Week. He had a couple of field goals, including one that banked off of the goalpost, which actually was the record for Winona State, 46 field goals in a career. So he and Steve Opgenorth are the only Warrior field goal kickers to have more than 30 field goals, I think, in a career. Talk about what it's like to have him, and I know he missed a field goal during the game, but to kind of have that confidence in your kicker when you send him out.
Well, it's huge. You're counting on points when you get down there. And I told him I hope he breaks the scoring record too, but only 1 point at a time instead of 3. But he's got a tremendous leg. He's a smart kid, obviously, and going to go to medical school and all that kind of stuff. But more importantly is you can count on him. And he's kicking the ball deep in the kickoff team as well. But to break that record that's been since 2003, Steve Opgenorth, matter of fact, I called Steve and or sent him a note that Carter had broke his record, and then he reached out to Carter as well. So, to be here for both of those records has been a lot of fun for those guys. But Carter's a guy that you can count on. He can make the big one. He's made a 59-yarder. So when we get into position, we know we're in the scoring zone once we cross midfield.
All right. And then I don't know if it's my imagination, it seems like Carter has had more touchbacks this year than ever before.
Well, last year he had a bunch of them, but he was only 3-stepping them because he had a hamstring injury. So he was hurt all of last year and just kind of limped through the year. Going back 2 years ago, he had a bunch of them. But he is bigger and stronger than ever. I mean, the guy squats 500 pounds or more, and he's powerful. And when his timing is on, he's as good as there is in Division II, and things like that could maybe give him a shot in the future.
All right, and then one last thing, Michael Russell at punter. You don't want to have to send the punting unit on, but when you do, I mean, he did a really good job, I think. Yes.
Yeah, he had one that wasn't great, but the other two, he put one out in the middle of the field. We covered it. We got great cover teams. So what we're trying to do is just get those guys pinned into the sideline and that's something that he's really improved this year because, people always get caught up in the punting average. Oh my gosh, you should average 40 yards, but yeah, that's great, but if the guy returns at 25, it doesn't do you a lot of good. So he's putting it where we need to. We got our team surrounded around that return guy. He had a couple yesterday that were over 4, or on Saturday that were over 4 seconds of hang time. Our guys will be there when that happens, and that's what's happening. So he's doing a great job. All
right, we're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, we'll talk offense. Zach Olstead will join us right after this.
With so many new items on the menu at Wellington's Pub and Grill, you're in for some tough decisions. 6 different salads, homemade soups, huge wraps, juicy steaks, the Wells' own smokehouse ribs, and as always, the best burgers in town. See, we told you it wasn't going to be easy. Log on to wellingtonspubandgrill.com for daily lunch and evening specials. With so many choices for lunch and dinner, you can never come to this well too often.
The Big 12 is not for the weak. You face Red River shootouts and destructive cyclones, with Cowboys and Longhorns ready to take you down. Every week you fight or surrender. Win or lose, you do. Or you don't. There is no other choice.
Good luck with the family. I'm home.
Oh, hi.
Where is everyone?
They're still here. I just gave everyone the HBC Wi-Fi password.
Stream like a hero. Only HBC has the fastest in-home Wi-Fi, where multiple users can download and upload, share files, and stream audio and video simultaneously.
NASCAR racing is about a whole lot more than just cars going around a track. It's about people who drive, people who engineer, people who plan, people who know how to put it all together. Meet the people who make the cars go round every week on Raceline. Watch Raceline here every week.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25, brought to you by Wellington's Pub and Grill. As we said, we're going to talk offense. Coach, you brought one of your fullbacks with you.
Yeah, one of our captains. Zach, thanks for being here, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Let's jump right into it. We talked about the offense, Justin and I did just a minute ago, and obviously you're a huge part of that. Back healthy again, playing every down, as many downs as we can get out of you. Right. But tell me what it's like now to get back on the field full time.
Oh, it feels great, being out there after last season. I played the last 6 games with a broken foot. Right after the season, I had surgery on it during Thanksgiving, and full recovery. I'm feeling good, and that's the biggest thing. So whether it's 15 to 25 reps I get a game, I've been feeling pretty good. Make it through the week, get in the training room, and here we go again. So
we look at what we were doing. We talking about our offensive production a little while ago and rushing the ball now 2 weeks in a row for over 300 yards. And obviously you're a big part of that, you and the tight ends as well. But what's going on with our run game? Why have we developed a little bit more, and what do we got to do to get better?
Well, I think we're taking strides every week. There's a lot of injuries up front, and every position we're getting thin, but it's next man up mentality. The guards, Collin Valley moving to center, but I think the 1-2 punch of our 2 fullbacks we got now, myself and Dustin Iverson, we've been really coming along. He's improving, I'm improving week to week, and that's just been helping Eric, Javian, and Landon big time.
We talk about you only gave up 1 sack too, and I think we've only given up 7 all year so far. And I know you play a big role in that too, but how important is it to protect Darren or Owen or whoever's back there? How important is that?
It's huge. The quarterback obviously is the most valuable position on our offense. If he goes down, it's next man up, but how far are you falling off? We need Darren to be healthy. Owen stepped up great versus Minot and even got reps versus Upper Iowa, but keeping him healthy is very important.
You know, when we talked to you earlier this season and asked you if you had a chance to choose what position you would play, you said that you would choose running back to get the running back carries, but you know what your role is as a fullback. So talk about that a little bit more, about knowing your role as a fullback, knowing that it's protection, it's paving the way for somebody else.
Right.
Talk about having to do that game after game.
In that interview, I was getting a little greedy. It's beside myself. I like to just be humble and do my 1/11th, like the coaches always preach, but you know, running back would be sweet, but fullback, you know, you just got to know your role. What's best for the team is obviously what's best, and we're 5-0 right now. Can't complain, so we'll just keep on doing what we're doing.
All right, I want to go back to something that you talked about from last year. You said you played 6 weeks with a broken foot. Now, for those of us who don't play, just sit and watch everybody else, how do you do that? How do you play or more than half a season with a broken foot?
It was painful. It really was, and I think it took away from my game a little bit. I couldn't move. I couldn't move as well. I couldn't practice week to week, which hurt a lot. But you know, it's just like my dad, my mom raised me up, you know, to be tough, and they said long ways from your heart. So I know Isaiah Hall was on the show last week, and he said, you know, with the heart you can do anything. So you know, that's the biggest thing. Just, you know, pain. You know, me and then the team. So here we go.
You know, you talk about, we've been talking about being 5-0 and how exciting that is for our program. What does it mean to the players?
It's huge. You know, we're ranked in the top 25 now. It's cool, like you said, but it's a long ways from number 1. You know, we got a long ways to go. We're going to keep improving week to week, working hard, and just take it one step at a time.
I got to ask you about being named one of the captains this year. We call this Captain Week. It was Speed Week last week. It's Captain Week this week. What did that mean to you to be named a captain this year?
It meant a lot. I've been here for a while. Me and Mikey are sixth-year seniors. He's also a captain. Andrew's a captain. And, you know, having your teammates and coaches respect as a leader, it's huge. You know, it was an emotional high for me. And just keep on leading every day. It's the biggest thing.
Okay. Last thing I have for you, Zach, is, you know, going into the game against you know, a top 10 opponent now and on the road. In fact, the next 4 out of 5 games are on the road, so the true road warriors need to show up. How do you keep your focus and get ready for a big game like that, especially being on the road?
Like in the off season when we're training, you know, you only get to play so many times. You get 11 guaranteed games, and you work all off season for it. So like during the off season, you're thinking the main focus is to remain focused. And week to week, you know, you get to play football. Not everybody gets to play football. We're part of the 1%, so, you know, you just got to keep grinding and focus on the opponent and the task at hand.
All right, Zach, thank you for joining us this week, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, we'll go defense. Andrew Spencer joins us right after this.
When it comes to high school football, no one has you covered like HBC.
The HBC TV25 Sports Crew travels to local high school football stadiums to bring you our game of the week.
Brought to you on Crystal Clear HD on HBC TV 25.
For the full schedule of games, log on to hbci.com/sports.
Catch all your local high school football action right here on HBC.
Football Night on HBC is brought to you by Lewiston Auto.
HBC Sports, your home for high school football.
What's a Southern girl? It's waking up before the sun rises. It's loving the simple things in life like the dirt roads that lead you home. It's working hard to get what you want. It's hanging your own stands, breaking your own ground, and strategizing every little move for that one moment when everything you've worked for is standing right in front of you. Even if I fail a million times, I keep pushing myself till I'm exhausted, filthy, and about to give up. And that's when the adrenaline hits.
Pick your channels, not your nose. With HBC's Essentials Plus, pick and choose the channel packs of your choice without getting your fingers dirty. With so many new items on the menu at Wellington's Pub and Grill, you're in for some tough decisions. 6 different salads, homemade soups, huge wraps, juicy steaks, the Wells' own smokehouse ribs, and as always, the best burgers in town. See, we told you it wasn't going to be easy, Log on to wellingtonspubandgrill.com for daily lunch and evening specials. With so many choices for lunch and dinner, you can never come to this well too often.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show, brought to you by Wellington's Pub and Grill. We'll go defense now. Andrew Spencer joins us.
Andrew, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, my friend. Yep. Kind of a fun weekend for you?
Yeah, it was a good weekend. It was my mom's birthday, so for her to come up and me have the game I had, it was pretty special.
You know, talking about that game and talking about, you know, making plays and getting in the right position, what are some of the things that led up to, one, making the move to go get the football, and then, of course, what's it feel like when you get across the goal line?
Just making plays for my team, but leading up to the week, we knew they get the ball out fast, so we knew that we had opportunities to make plays like this, and Coach harped on us to really just stick to the game plan, and you'll end up with when we got to make turnovers. So really just still film studying, just knowing what I had to do and read my keys and making the play.
You know, Zach talked about being a running back. You talk to me every day in practice about getting a couple carries. So you remember what I said to you before the game?
Yeah. I mean, I think you just said that you get carries when you catch the ball on interception. So
Right. So right now you got 2 carries. It's more than some of our running backs. But again, going back to the game and, you know, being 5-0 and that defense, you know, one of the top in the league, if not the best. What's it really mean for you when you talk about being one of the best defenses in the Northern Sun?
It's just pride, because you know, no one wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning or in the summer to be average, you know. So when you think about it that way, you're trying to be the best in the league, and if someone says they're not, then they're not playing for the right reason. So this team, this defense, we have a lot of pride in what we do. We come to work with an attitude where we want to be the best in the league. So I mean, being a part of that is special.
And, you know, another thing about your leadership as one of our captains, congratulations on that too, but
Thanks.
You're really the quarterback on that defense, sitting back there, controlling things, and I know that's a different role than what you had in past years, but Cam, Gavin, and those young guys out there are new players on our team looking to you now. How has that changed your role on the defense?
Well, actually, it's kind of gotten easier because these guys, they don't really need my help, honestly. You'll see Cam, he'll tell me what to do sometimes, and that's what we're so good, honestly. Our accountability for each other is so much different than I've ever had in my life, where there isn't really a quarterback on this team. It's really just everyone's got each other's back and everyone knows what they're supposed to do. So, I mean, it's just everyone's playing quarterback. And like Mikey, I would say he would be quarterback if anything, because he's got to get us all in the right spots. But other than that, from D-line all the way up to the defensive backs, man, everyone knows what they got to do, and they don't really need to depend on anyone.
That's good.
That might actually answer my question here, but is there any way to explain how dominant you guys have been on defense over the past couple of years?
Like Coach Barton says every day, we just got to play harder than everyone else, and that's 100% it. People are like, "Oh, you guys are really fast getting to the ball," and I'm like, "Well, yeah. I mean, if you're not getting to the ball, you can't make a play." So when we play hard, everyone's going 100 miles per hour. So it makes it look like we're going insanely fast, but really we're just doing what we want to do, and that's just playing football.
I want to ask about your kind of past football life as a punt returner or a kick returner. You had the one against Southwest that we've talked about all over, but I didn't realize that you had so many in high school that looked similar to that Southwest. Can you talk about what is it about that, being able to shake tacklers like that, bust through people, stay in bounds, and get to the end zone?
Never get tackled. I mean, like, I don't understand why people accept being going down. I'm going to fight. I mean, scoring is one of the greatest feelings ever. It's what you look for, and like everyone notices you scoring a touchdown, and when you get to celebrate your teammates and whatever. But like, no one wants to be tackled. Like, I don't understand that. Like, I don't want to be tackled. So I mean, I'm going to try my hardest to get in the end zone. So that's what I've been doing ever since I was younger. Actually, I've had a couple of them like that since I was in like Pop Warner, the same kind of punt return touchdown. So there's more. But yeah, so I mean, it's just been one thing I've had in my life, where it's just never go down, you know.
So is it determination? Is it strength? Is it angles? Is it what you see in the coverage?
Yeah, I mean, I've got decent vision, but I think it's determination to, you know, like I said earlier, play harder than everyone else and make a play and then score a touchdown. That's the main focus.
You know, going back last week, you're playing in the secondary against the reigning NSIC Player of the Week and their quarterback. Now this week we've got the reigning NSIC Offensive Player again, and they're in running back, the Mickey kid from Sioux Falls. What does that do for your defense? As you know, I talked about as inspiration, but what it's like for a player?
You bet it's an inspiration thing right now. It's a challenge. In our eyes, this is the best. They were like that last year. Last year we didn't do our business. We didn't handle business like we're supposed to, and we lost that battle. So this year we're looking for a little bit of revenge. We're gonna stick to our game plan still, but you know, things are gonna be amped up a little bit more because of the circumstances.
All right. Well, you are the NSIC Defensive Player of the Week. What does that mean to you to get an honor like that?
Oh man, it means a lot. I mean, people always say individual goals don't really matter, but you know, they do. Everything matters, and it's not just for me. It's an accomplishment for my teammates and everything. Because, like I said, you wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. to be average. Mm-hmm. So whatever I can do to even put more publicity on our team and whatnot, that's an accomplishment. That's a goal of mine. Is just to have every award, to win everything, just win. So to have that is important.
Okay.
Absolutely. Last question I have for you is, you know, going into the deeper south, we'll call it now. We started in the south, but they were 100 miles away.
Yeah.
Going deeper south now against the USF and on the road. What do we have to do to continue this momentum and get win number 6?
We got to have fun, man. Play hard, know our assignments and keys, and trust the process and what we have to do. And like I said, it'll fall in place. You don't get up at 5 a.m. for nothing. So once
you're not a morning guy, it sounds
No,
like.
I don't like the morning, but you know, if we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to be special.
All right, thank you for joining us here today. Good luck next week.
Yes, sir.
We're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show, and when we come back, we'll talk about Sioux Falls and the rest of Warrior football right after this.
With so many new items on the menu at Wellington's Pub and Grill, you're in for some tough decisions. 6 different salads, homemade soups, huge wraps, juicy steaks, the Wells' own smokehouse ribs, and as always, the best burgers in town. See, we told you it wasn't going to be easy. Log on to wellingtonspubandgrill.com for daily lunch and evening specials. With so many choices for lunch and dinner, you can never come to this well too often.
And now the new wrinkle. Oh, look at this prancing from Lady Poodle, which goes into a conga line. Amazing, amazing. And now the new wrinkle. Oh, look at this prancing from Lady Poodle, which goes into a conga line.
Play, pause, rewind. Record now and watch on your schedule. Never miss out on your favorite shows. Free DVR service and equipment is included in all GigaWorld packages.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show on HBC TV 25, brought to you by Wellington's Pub and Grill. Just a couple minutes left here. Let's talk about the upcoming game against Sioux Falls. It's kind of a long road trip, night game. Tell us how you guys match up, 5-0 against 5-0.
Yeah, these are close trips compared to Minot, so this is nothing. Yeah, it's a 4.5-hour trip, but I think the matchup is really good. If you compare statistics and compare schedules, I think it is a toss-up. It's the team who plays best on Saturday. It's fun playing an evening game. There'll be a bunch of people there. It's their homecoming, all that kind of stuff, which just makes it more fun. Mm-hmm. But we look at it as a pretty easy trip. Down I-90 all the way, and you're there. So we're looking forward to it. We got a long week of practice ahead of us, and just try to sharpen up as best as we possibly can. But I feel like if we do things right and start fast, the good things can happen.
All right, Zach kind of talked about the players kind of thinning out a little bit due to injuries. What is the injury report this week?
Well, actually, the report right now is it's better than it was last week. So you get to the 6th game of the year, we're at the halfway point, and we're just down one starter, and he's going to come back here hopefully in another week or so. So that's Vince, but everybody else is better, and we got out of that last week clean. And every time you get back to Tuesday practice and you got 99% of your players there, good things can happen.
All right, Tom, thank you for joining us this week,
Appreciate
and
it,
good luck against Sioux Falls.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All right, thank you for joining us here on the Tom Sawyer Show. We'll see you next week here on HBC TV 25.